Temptation come, Satan trying to mash me down. The devil think that he is strong. Him think he's strong.
My idiot.
The devil think that he is strong. Him think he's strong.
My idiot. Think him strong.
My idiot.
Think him strong.
My idiot.
Think him strong.
My idiot.
Book a virtual appointment with a representative using Sagicor eConnect to discuss your life insurance or Sagicor Lifestyle Approved Retirement Scheme. The time by Sagicor eConnect is
7 a.m.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app. That can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. And we have a shortened version of the Morning Watch today as we go live for the National Leadership Prayer Breakfast at approximately 7:30 a.m. this morning. In this, our first and only watch today, the topic is Understanding Earthquakes in Jamaica, What History Teaches Us, and How Ready and Prepared We Really Are Today. For our social media question, we ask, do you think Jamaica is prepared for a major earthquake? Yes or no? Why? Share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp at 876-9973-125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We won't read your responses on air because we will break for the prayer breakfast, but feel free, notwithstanding, to send them in. And of course, your posts will be present on YouTube as well as on Facebook, where others can read your responses. And in our I quote for today, Jokal.
All right, so today's I quote says, do not put yourself on fire to keep everybody else warm. This one is from Penny Reed.
Wow, this is a very loaded I quote. You could break it down in so many ways.
Loaded but true.
Because sometimes, in an effort to help someone else
Or please others.
You see how many ways you can break it down already. You found there's here we have two already. There are so many ways in which this could be looked at. Have to make sure you're taking care of yourself. Good morning, Jukal.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. The first watch. We'll be back after this break. You know, we could have a show just on that I quote.
Wait alone, just it.
We'll be back after this break.
Jamaica, after the storm comes the strength of a nation. Love 101 FM invites you to join hands and hearts for the 46th National Leadership Prayer Breakfast. This Thursday, January 15, our nation's leaders gather under the powerful theme, Caring for Our Neighbor. This year's keynote speaker, Reverend Dr. Peter Garth, Senior Pastor of Hope Gospel Assembly, will deliver a word of hope and restoration. We're praying for our Western parishes and raising vital funds for the Manning's School as they rebuild from the recent devastation. Listen for something
Listen for The Voice of Power at 9:30 immediately after the broadcast.
Podcast is brought to you by the Tax Administration of Jamaica, the TAJ, working together to serve you even better. That's the National Leadership Prayer Breakfast, caring for our neighbor, rebuilding our nation. This Thursday, January 15 at 7:30 a.m. live right here on the family station, Love 101.
Reach one as we follow after Christ. We all can lead one.
Eternal Father.
Right now, our brothers and sisters in Western Jamaica are hurting. Homes have been destroyed. Families are struggling to start again after Hurricane Melissa.
Love 101 FM, the family station, is calling on you to join hearts and hands in love in action.
You can make a difference today by donating cash or kind to help rebuild lives.
We're collecting non-perishable food items,
Bottled water,
baby supplies,
hygiene products,
toiletries,
cleaning supplies,
bedding, tarpaulins, and small household items.
Drop off your donations of cash and kind at Love 101 FM or participating partner churches island-wide.
Every can, every package, every dollar helps bring hope to the hurting. Together, we are Love in Action. Love 101 FM,
the family station.
Recycling Partners of Jamaica. Yeah, we got to make a change, and we have to do it now, can't wait for later. We put plastic in its place, and we all can agree that will be safer than in the gullies and in the drains. Recycling Partners of Jamaica. We put plastic in its place. A license, no matter about your class or status or title, got to be responsible and recycle. Yes, we have talk about plastic buckle board. You have to make sure say that the right type to so look for the triangle with the one or two. But that don't matter could a yellow or blue. You have to just make sure them empty, collect them plenty, recycling revenue. So listen up Jamaica, I'm saying it's time to make a change. Recycling Partners of Jamaica. We put plastic in its place, and we all can agree that will be safer than in the gullies in the every veins. Recycling Partners of Jamaica. We put plastic in its place.
As a contractor, I never work without a plan.
As an electrician, protection is always a priority.
If you're a small business owner or an independent contractor, there's a plan that gives you protection and coverage. Sagicor Pro Shield. Get up to $1 million critical illness coverage and cover up to 80% of your medical costs for as little as $15,510 every 3 months. Get the protection you need with Sagicor Pro Shield. Call 876-936-7784. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the first and only watch for today. And as Jamaica observes Earthquake Awareness Week, it's good to pause and ask some serious questions. Earthquakes are indicated to be a part of even our history. Yet many of us live as if earthquakes are really just a distant threat. From 1907, that earthquake in Kingston, to tremors that we still experience, what lessons have we learned? And of course, there was that very famous earthquake which took place a couple of centuries ago, we could say, where Port Royal or parts of it sank. And we are being joined by an environmentalist today, as well as you could call him an environmental historian of sorts. He will help us to understand not just the science behind the earthquakes, but why is it that Jamaica is so seismically hazardous? And we also want to look at how ready and prepared we are, and to get a little bit of history in terms of what has happened in the past. Our guest is Franklin McDonald, Order of Distinction, and he's a retired Jamaican geologist and environmentalist with decades of experience in disaster preparedness, an environmental historian, and he has held 6 positions of prominence in this country in terms of the environment and taking care of our ecosystem, I could say. Mr. McDonald, good morning.
Good morning, Stokeley. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Good to hear you, sir. Happy to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's an auspicious day, and after several observances of historical earthquakes on the 12th, we mark the anniversary of the Haiti earthquake of 2010. Then the following day, an earthquake which you may remember, the 13th of January 1993. You may have been in school or just out of school.
I remember.
And then, of course, yesterday was the anniversary of the Kingston 1907 event.
Yes.
And by the way, I see you may be going to join the Day of Prayer. After the 1692 earthquake, a holiday called Fast Day was observed in Jamaica for 160 years to pray on the anniversary of the 1692 event, which, by the way, was June 7th.
Well,
so the idea of a day of prayer and of earthquake awareness activities is not new, but I think we may have neglected them a little bit in the last few years.
Certainly we have. In fact, in a previous life of yours, sir, you were the executive director of ODPEM, Office of the Disaster Management, and of course, I believe you were the head of NEPA as well at one point, sir, the CEO.
Well, let's maybe get this record. I have the strange history of having been the head of 3 Government of Jamaica agencies, the one in charge of geological matters.
Yes.
Then I was moved to get the ODP started, and it began life not as ODPEM, and in fact, I don't think I've ever had an appointment at ODPEM. I was head of something called ODPERC, Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Relief Coordination, set up after the June flood rains of 1979.
Thank you for that. Yes.
And then after a stint in the Caribbean in the late 1980s, where I was loaned by the government of Jamaica to the Caribbean, I came back home and was instructed to help to get the National Environment and Planning Agency started.
I see.
But we have limited time, if I understand it. So maybe we should be talking about why earthquakes are important for Jamaica, and
well, I was going to start with
what
this
more
question.
we should do, because we have just experienced Melissa.
But before you go there, so I was going to start with a question to you. Can you summarize anything in relation to earthquakes in the Caribbean in even just the last 48 hours? Can you outline for us what has happened?
Well, I sent you one of the benefits of being alive in 2026 is that you can simply turn to your smartphone or your device and say, how many earthquakes have there been in the Caribbean in the last 48 or 96 hours? And we'll spit you out an answer.
And I see here the Caribbean has experienced several earthquakes in the last 48 hours, with a 3.8 magnitude quake in the Dominican Republic and multiple quakes of magnitudes of up to 3.4 in Puerto Rico.
Well, that's what I was coming to, that the activity along the North Caribbean plate boundary to where Jamaica sits is being monitored very closely by our neighbors. And in fact, as you mentioned earlier, it's Earthquake Awareness Week this year, but normally it's Earthquake Awareness Month. So some people are wondering if our activities are weaker than usual, because this is a serious hazard, as serious as Melissa, and perhaps more serious than Melissa. There have been several persons saying how bad Melissa has been, and I've been pointing out that Melissa is not the worst case for a hurricane. If Melissa had come over Kingston, that would have been worse. And Melissa certainly would not compare to what had happened in Haiti in 2010 when there were 200,000 casualties. So we know Melissa was not the worst, and we need to make sure we are better prepared and in a sharper state of readiness. And I use the term readiness because there are some services in Jamaica which should be always ready to deal with the possibility of an earthquake. I'll come to why we have earthquakes afterwards. But I wanted to strike that serious note. We need to ensure that the entity we created to be a focal point for disaster preparedness and readiness has all the agencies ready, the hospitals and health centers, the fire service, the utilities. We have an Office of Utility Regulation promoted by the World Bank, by the way. And if you read the literature in the World Bank website, it will tell you that those offices are supposed to guarantee you the utilities perform even in extreme environmental situations such as those caused by climate change or by earthquakes. So I wanted
Mr.
to begin with a serious note that we need to make sure that the entities we create to provide services are on the ball, ready for the earthquake, and the general public is better prepared.
Well, what do we really know about earthquakes in Jamaica, though, Mr. McDonald? Because we hear about them.
Let me deal with that then.
Yes.
First of all, I want to pay tribute to two earth scientists who have made a great contribution to understanding the earthquakes in this part of the world. They're the late Rafi Ahmad and the late Glenn Draper. Both of those were staff members of the Geology and Geography Department of the university. Many may know Rafi through his writings and many publications in the paper. Glenn died earlier this week in Miami after spending some years at a university there. So if you look at a map, Stokeley, of the Caribbean, you will see that let's focus on the south coast of several of the Great Antilles. The south coast of Jamaica is more or less a straight line, if you look at it.
Okay.
And lines up fairly close with the south coast of Hispaniola, which is the island housing Dominican Republic and Haiti, and the south coast of Puerto Rico. When you see long straight lines on the map, you should assume it's a geological fault. If you also look at the north coast of the islands, you see significant parts of Puerto Rico and Hispaniola more or less line up too. That's another fault. You look at the south coast of Cuba, it's a straight line in the area just north of Jamaica and parallel to the coast of Jamaica. One of the AI products I sent to someone at your station yesterday was a list derived from a database called GEM, Global Environmental Model, operated by an entity in Italy, supported by the United Nations Disaster Risk Reduction Entity. But what the map is saying is that there are faults in the Caribbean. They are long, and they run parallel to a feature which you may be aware of called the Puerto Rico Trench, and in the area near Jamaica, Cuba, Cayman Islands, with a feature known as the Cayman Fracture. That is the plate boundary between the Caribbean plate and the North American plate. And
Mr. McDonald, only because of time, is it true that wherever there is a view, a lovely view, like on a hillside or on a mountain, there is likely to be a fault line right there?
Let me rephrase that. Jamaica is spectacularly beautiful because in many cases, Lover's Leap, Spur Tree, Richmond Hill, looking over Montego Bay, you are in fact standing on a fault.
Oh,
the
because I see a number of them here, sir. I'm seeing the Spur Tree Fault. I'm seeing the Silver Hill Fault, the Blue Mountain Fault.
We don't have time to go through all the faults in Jamaica. There are so many. If you're a Jamaican, you should be a fault finder. There are so many to find. I use these catchy phrases because I think the earthquake awareness activity needs to be energized to match the concern which our colleagues in Puerto Rico are feeling. They just issued on December 21st. Again, with the devices we hold in our hands, you can Google this. New 2025 hazard model of Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands. The U.S. Geological Survey and the Puerto Rico scientists have compiled all of the new knowledge about the fault boundary running through their part of the Caribbean plate. And everyone listening could do that. Just Google it up. You know, the search engine was invented by a young Barbadian.
Well, let me raise
Why
this
are
with you,
more
Mr.
Caribbean
McDonald.
people using it?
Let me raise this with you, Mr. McDonald. How vulnerable is Jamaica to an earthquake right now?
No, well, I can't tell you that completely. The listeners need to go on Google. I'm making the point that the Google search engine was invented by a Barbadian, but your listeners use it as a phone, and that's the way it can be used. In terms of vulnerability,
yes.
Let me say this. Since the 2010 earthquake in Haiti,
yes,
a great deal of research has been done on the plate boundary near to us, meaning the Enriquillo Planting Garden Falls, which runs from Haiti into Jamaica. I do not think we have had a presentation made to the public about what those findings are. I'm a retired scientist. I don't know what they are completely.
I see.
The authorities in Jamaica need to use earthquake awareness week, month, whatever period they designate, to share this with the public. The churchgoers, the business people, because a lot of our earthquake education or disaster-related education has been directed to the personal and community. Unless to the businesses, the organizations which need to help us when we have an event. And as we have seen Stokeley, in Beryl, the utilities failed. In Melissa, the utilities failed again 15 months later. Where were the lessons learned?
And the concern is that if we have a major earthquake, the utilities will definitely fail.
Well, I leave that to your listeners to go Google about what earthquake readiness and preparedness means. Ask questions of the ODP and the earthquake experts. I am an old man, a concerned citizen, and that's the best message I can give you.
Well, I'll ask you this though. I'll ask you this though. I'll ask you this.
Yeah, so we are vulnerable.
Yes.
May I answer the question?
Sure, please.
We are vulnerable.
Yes.
The scientists are telling us that, but it seems that the public authorities are not taking up the message.
I see.
People are saying that in the case of Melissa, it was the first time a hurricane moved so slowly near Jamaica. That's not true. In 1912, we saw the effects of a hurricane which dawdled near Jamaica, then came ashore in Westmoreland. The question, if I may, Stokeley, is why do we so easily and quickly forget the obvious lessons that are in our history?
We are not being
including
reminded.
our recent history.
We are not being reminded, and that makes me ask this question now.
Well, again, I'm a believer in personal responsibility.
But before you go there, Mr. McDonald, 1907, that 1907 Kingston earthquake, which many persons have heard about, what would you regard as some of the lessons learned or even the lessons forgotten from 1907?
Well, to be a bit frivolous, it led to the Americans landing in Kingston. I don't know if you know that. And a Marine...
I did not know that.
A Marine from the southern part of the United States shot a Kingston businessman because he was behind the counter of his shop and because he was not the right color from the point of view of a person from the South. That's a rather frivolous one, but I say it in this way because people need to look back at the lessons. In the 1907 earthquake, the fire department was ineffective because the fire station collapsed. The troops in Upper Camp were ineffective because most of the buildings Upper Camp shifted off their foundation. There was a tsunami in the Kingston area. and in Port Antonio, Buff Bay, Anata Bay. We just spent quite a bit of money making sure that Anata Bay was more resilient for climate events. Did we also make sure that we dealt with the effects of the tsunami of 1907 if it were to be repeated? So I'm raising this question because the time is short, but I think people listening to me and listening to the station need to be aware of the extent to which there is new knowledge. It is available on your phone. We saw in 1993, on the 13th of January, in a small earthquake, which had an epicenter of Montego Bay, some interesting things. Several teachers jumped off the balcony of the schools and broke their legs. The students
they panicked,
who had been given information about what to do in an earthquake had to calm the teachers. That suggests that there is work to be done in the schools.
You know, Mr. McDonald, I will raise this with you quickly in relation to a major earthquake that could occur at any moment, sir. Any thoughts you want to leave with us? Because sometimes we hear these things about you need to go under a table, etc., etc. But in the moment, maybe all that will fly out of some of the heads of some of us. Anything you want to share?
Well, I think the drop, cover, hold advice is good advice.
Yes.
But we need to go beyond that, as we have seen in Melissa, with the poor performance of the utilities. The utilities, the people who run services and businesses need to sit down in their business place. And I think today is a day ODP has designated for businesses to practice their earthquake plan.
Their earthquake plan. Earthquake plan.
My question, Stokeley, is how many people do have an earthquake plan which has been updated, given the new knowledge we have of strong motion, which is possible.
So every business place, every school, maybe every home actually, every apartment complex.
Well, every entity, every organization should have an earthquake plan. Let me give you an example. The Bank of Jamaica is buying property uptown. Do you know why they made that decision?
Well, is it because of the location of the building, sir?
Well, the answer they gave in a report 2 years ago, which I have never seen followed up in the media,
yes,
is that they did a geotechnical evaluation of their site in downtown Kingston. There are published reports, again, coming out of the 2010 earthquake in Haiti, and based on new research tools, we can now put GPS markers on the ground and measure the movement related to the earth and the plate boundary. This has been done for Jamaica for the last
Before we wrap today, Mr. McDonald, tell us quickly, sir, what is liquefaction?
Liquefaction is when, during an earthquake, the ground stops being solid and becomes liquid because the high water table overcomes the frictional resistance, which is simply of the soil. So when the ground behaves as a liquid, solid items will sink into the ground, including buildings. Liquefaction is occurring many times in the Caribbean.
To your knowledge, sir, what sections of Jamaica are subject or more prone to liquefaction, to your knowledge?
Let me answer by saying you should ask those questions of the ODP.
Thank you.
The National Works Agency.
Thank you, sir.
I can't answer on
Point
the phone,
taken.
But there are maps. There are maps indicating where in Jamaica and other
point taken, sir. Point taken. I'm getting a signal, Mr. McDonald. I'm getting a signal. Any final word of caution you want to leave with us this morning in a couple of seconds?
The thing I fear most in terms of unreadiness is that we do not seem to have any preparation for tsunamis.
Tsunamis, okay.
On the 8th of February last year, there was a 7.6 event west of Cayman Islands. That should have triggered the tsunami warning arrangements for Jamaica. It did not seem to have done so.
Mr. McDonald, only because of time.
The media needs to know what the tsunami warning arrangement is on how to convey.
We are hearing you
warning
loudly and
messages.
clearly, sir. You said we need to look at the matter of tsunamis, but we have to leave it there today because we're completely out of
And the
time.
media houses have a very important role to play in the tsunami warning arena.
Understood, sir, but we are totally out of time, but we are hearing you, and well, certainly in my case, I think I'll follow it up. Thank you, Mr. McDonald, sir. Thank you so much for your time and for your thoughts. We have to leave it there for today. Thank you so much. We should have you back, sir. Definitely, most definitely. And that's it for our shortened version of the Morning Watch today. Stand by for the live broadcast of the National Leadership Prayer Breakfast theme, Caring for Our Neighbors, with Speaker Reverend Dr. Peter Garth, Senior Pastor, Hope Gospel Assembly. Thank you, our listeners and viewers from all over the world, for being with us today. Have a blessed rest of the week. And join Reverend Dr. Dylan Tasanti next week as he continues to set the stage for the discussion of topical and controversial issues. Visit the Love 101 FM YouTube channel and Facebook page for this and all other Love 101 FM programs. Listen to the Morning Watch on our Love 101 app. Download it today and stay connected to the family station, Love 101 FM, the number one gospel station in Jamaica. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and to all our guests. I am Stokeley Marshall, handing back Love in the Morning with Jakal.
Start your journey with a GN Small Business Loan with small business loans as little as